Welcome to the Relationship Chronicles. I'm your host, Ehsan, and today we're going to dive deep into the relationship. This is a new journey or a new podcast that I'm planning to start, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Today we're going to dive deep into the nitty-gritty of making a relationship stronger and more resilient, and let's just say more rewarding. So grab your cup of tea, sit back, and let's get started with this episode. To kick things off, let's talk about what makes a foundation of a healthy relationship. Remember, it's not always the big flashy gestures. So you might be in a relationship and a lot of time people say that, oh, I do this. I buy her this or buy him this or I give them this opportunities. And it's not about that. Often it's the small everyday interaction that kind of creates this strong bond. It comes down to communication, respect, trust, and most importantly, something that gets kind of pushed aside, it's boundaries. So let's get through them one by one. Let's first talk about communication. It's very important. I see it a lot in relationship that people get into a relationship and keep their channels closed. They don't talk about their emotion. They don't talk about their feeling. And let's just say we kind of put it inside of us and try to just not talk about it at all. But rather, when it comes to relationship, the most fundamental aspect of having a healthy relationship is those communication channels. And the more you keep it open and the more you share things in your relationship, the better you will be able to not only express, explore, or acknowledge yourself, but also your partner. And that can open up channels for your partner to be more open and honest with you and communicate with you. So share your feeling. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling not heard, talk about it. It's very, very simple, but yet gets overlooked so often. And then we come to the second point of respect. That's something that gets tossed away. And here's the thing. If you don't respect your partner, it's just like if somebody in the street doesn't respect you, how angry you would get. And you would say that, oh, relationship, what does that have to do with a stranger in the street? But the thing is that we remember things. It doesn't matter if your partner is a male or if it's a female. People have emotion. And those emotion, when attacked on a personal level, it can kind of hurt and shatter some piece inside of us. So respect, recognize the value of each other, and ask yourself, what do I bring to this relationship and what is my partner brings to this relationship? The more we have this idea of what this relationship means and the more we communicate, the better we respect each other. And then communication and respect brings about trust. And trust is not just about not having being true to your relationship and not just cheating. It's not about cheating. That's sometimes I have trust in my relationship. I never cheat on my partner. Well, it's not about cheating. Cheating, of course, it's an important part. It takes one small factor of it, but it's much, much more than that. It's about being independent and supportive in all circumstances. Of course, not being with others in your relationship is also considered trust. Not to say that that's not important, but it's important to be open in your relationship. It's important to understand every aspect and every circumstance of your relationship. And then to top it all off, once you have your communication in place, once you have your respect in place and you respect your partner, and once you build that trust, now you have to ask yourself about boundaries. And a lot of time, the problem that we have is that we try to set boundaries for other people. Okay, here's my boundary. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't say this. Don't take me there. But the problem that we have is that boundaries are only external. And sometimes in a healthy relationship, we need to have some internal boundaries for ourselves. What is it that I want? At what point do I tell myself enough is enough? At what point do I tell myself, okay, this is what has happened and this is the steps that I'm going to take to remedy the situation. Now, once you're able to create your internal boundaries of your limitation of the things that you will do or the things that you seek in a relationship, then and only then you could sit down and say, okay, here's then the boundaries that I want in terms of the relationship and where I want the relationship to go and in terms of your part. But notice that all of these things are not something that happens overnight. These are something that takes time, takes energy, and the more and more you put into it, the more and more you will be able to better understand it. Now, timing. Pick the right time. That's something that a lot of time in relationship we don't really give it that attention that it needs to. And a lot of time is because we have things that we want to do. We have things that we want to say. We have boundaries that we want to set. We have expectation that we want it to be met, but we don't have the right time. And in a healthy relationship, timing matters. So don't launch into a serious conversation when emotions are running high. What do I mean by that? Like, let's say you want to set your boundaries. Don't set your boundaries when you're having an argument. That's a lot of time that happens. I ask couples that, okay, tell me about this. Have you set your boundary? And say, yeah, last night we were arguing. My partner said this, and I told her about my boundaries. And she got mad at me for setting my boundaries. Well, yeah, because you picked out the wrong time. That happens over and over and over and over again. And that's not only for boundaries, that's for everything. Right time matters. They call it right time and place for a reason. It's not only for relationships, for everything. Everything has its own time. Your lunch time is your lunch time. Your work time is your work time. Your study time is your study time. Everything has its own time. And the more you understand this, the easier it will be for you to take action in terms of achieving your goal and getting that healthy relationship to a state that it needs to get. So pick the right time and then keep calm. Remember, the goal is to find resolution, not to win a fight. A lot of time when we get into an argument, our goal will simply be like, okay, I want this to happen. I want to get to this point in our argument. But the thing is that that's really not the right way to approach it. We have to keep calm and remember the goal is to find resolution, not to just win the argument that we're having. Because if you're focusing on winning the argument, you will not get anywhere. It doesn't matter how amazing your partner is or at what state your relationship is. The main thing to remember is that you need to remember that it's about you as a team with your partner. And that's a lot of time we forget about this, that we're a team and we start thinking in a selfish manner. And again, not that selfishness is a bad thing. Actually, selfishness is a really good thing because it allows you to understand what is it that you need, what is it that you want in terms of having a relationship. But the thing is that when it comes to you working in your relationship, a healthier relationship means that you and your partner are one, not two. So when you're having an argument, if you keep that in the back of your mind, now your goal is not to just argue with yourself. Your goal is to reason with yourself, find a resolution for yourself, and then focusing on the issue, not the person. Discuss the action and the cause that upset you rather than making it character critique. Because a lot of time when we're in an argument, we try to critique the other person. Hey, this is what you did. This is how you acted. This is how you said this. And we take things personally. And that's the worst thing that can happen by taking things personally. Rather than taking things personally, think outside of the box. Think of you and your partner as a team and ask yourself, how can I build this? How can I make this better, more effective? You know? And here's another thing that I want to say. So you made it past the honeymoon stage. Now what? Schedule time together. If you see that you're not spending the enough quality time that you guys bond with each other, schedule time. Forget about it. They say, oh no, it's not romantic. It needs to happen out of the blue. It needs to happen just right there and then. No, schedule a time. Say, okay, here's the thing. Every Friday is our date night. Every Friday we go out. Set aside some time for each other to connect emotionally. And during that time, share your goals. Whether it's fitness regimen or saving plan, or if you want to go pursue a hobby, do something. And then while you set those schedule and setting your goals, surprise your partner. The occasional unexpected gesture can inject a new life into your routine. So not to say that everything has to be planned, but it's good to have some things planned and it's good to be surprising at some times too. Now before we wrap this up, this was a quick kind of session of this, but before we wrap this up, let's not overlook the fact that the best relationship you ever have is with yourself. So personal space. Allow yourself time and recharge alone a little bit because it's needed. Keep growing. Pursue your individual interactions and hobbies and be emotionally intelligent about yourself. Be in touch with your own emotion to better understand your partner. The more you understand you, the better you can be in your relationship. Now, building a resilience in relationship is like constructing a masterpiece. It's a lifelong endeavor and process that requires dedication, creativity, and yes, love also is important in it. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this episode helpful and insightful, don't forget to subscribe, share this video, and if you want more support, I offer couple therapy as well, individual therapy. So visit my website www.atreef.com for more information. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys on the next segment.